Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I had a subscriber ask a question during the Q&As for this week, and I realized this question really kind of needs its own video, and it was about sleep. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilled up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this, because sleep and rest are important topics for your health, for your fitness, for your athleticism, for your muscle gains, for your fat loss, everything. Sleep is an important topic, and it's one that we don't always address enough. Now, we're usually told as people who lift, people who work out, we need to get enough sleep. What does that mean? Because people have asked things like, well, does it matter if it's continuous? What level of interruption will impact recovery? What level of interruption will mess with your hormones? Does it matter when it is? Is sleeping during the day the same as sleeping at night? How much does exposure to light affect it? Good questions, and that's stuff that we need to address, at least have a basic knowledge of. Now, the amount of sleep that a person needs actually varies from person to person, as far as brain function, hormones, memory, things like that. And psychologists have studied this a lot. This is stuff I learned even in school well over a decade ago, that this had been studied quite a bit. Some people can actually thrive and get by on 5 hours of sleep a night. They're the exception, not the norm, meaning can be perfectly healthy, and I knew someone like that. He did die in an airplane crash, but our family doctor, who my mother worked for when I was a kid, extremely brilliant man, and he was our general practitioner growing up. He did that, but he also graduated high school early, ended up getting his MD like a year or two earlier than he should have for his age. Guy was brilliant, but he didn't really sleep at night. And he was reasonably healthy in spite of it, but he was one of those people who just couldn't sleep because his brain was always in overdrive, and you do meet people like that from time to time. He only slept like 4 hours a night for pretty much since his teenage years all the way up until his death in the plane. So, example of someone who got by on less. Not everyone can do that. Some people need as much as 10 hours a day. There are people out there who are also outliers, also on the other extreme, who need as much as 10 hours a day. So when I give you guys general rules, these general rules probably only apply to about 70-80% of people. There are going to be exceptions, and it's a very individual thing. So generally, we're told 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and I would say particularly for anyone who works out hard, if you're training hard, if you're trying to maximize muscle growth, maximize fat loss, maximize performance, yeah, you need 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single night. Every single night. And it doesn't even matter whether it's training days or not, because you need it to recover after training days, and you need the night before training to knock that out also. And it does matter if it's interrupted. It matters when it is. First off, what we need to discuss a little bit is like shift work and sleeping during the day. It isn't as effective. People who do shift work generally have a slightly different hormone profile, meaning if you have one of those jobs where you get off work at 5 in the morning, go home and go to bed, shift workers, and that's in a lot of important industries, require shift workers, and it's unfortunate that that's the way it is, but the reality is some jobs pay more for shift workers. People need the extra money, and we have jobs that are absolutely essential, and that can be anything from certain sorts of maintenance and mechanical work require around-the-clock work. Various research projects sometimes require that. Nurses, doctors, paramedics, police officers, these are vital services. They oftentimes require people to do shift work. So they're basically people who are making a small sacrifice in their health and even possibly their fitness to provide jobs that we have to have. So it's understandable. These people probably need a bit more sleep, and the reason is because they're sleeping in the day, they are getting less effective sleep. They do tend to have slightly higher cortisol levels. Other hormones in their body can be slightly imbalanced as a result of it. Maybe not as good of memory, things like that. So if someone has to do shift work, they need to be very, very careful about the quality of sleep that they get, even more so than other people. I mean, everyone should care, but they need to care more. In other words, they need to replicate the proper sleeping environment the best that they can. Humans usually produce the best melatonin, best sleep hormones, best growth hormone, everything else when we sleep if we are in a cool, dark environment. Meaning, if you need to turn on sorry about that burp in there, I just ate. If you need to turn on an AC or a fan in order to bring the room temperature down, do it. In fact, if the fan helps relax you, and some people sleep really well with that mechanical sound, it helps some people sleep. That cool air will induce a deeper sleep, that cool breeze blowing across you. If you can't keep it cold through some other method, a fan will help. Keeping the room cooler and keeping it as dark as possible. In other words, if you do shift work, you need to completely block out the sunlight. You need to have blackout type curtains so that you can sleep and avoid the sunlight. You need to turn off all the electronic lights in the room, no computer screens, no night lights, no phone that can light up on you at night, because you are getting less effective sleep because of the shift work. So those people need to pay closer attention to those things, because it will impact your fitness and it will impact your health. Your quality of sleep is lower, so you need to do everything possible to maximize on it. Now, for other people, does this stuff apply? Yeah. If you're concerned that you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not recovering enough, like if you're running a grueling workout program and you're struggling to recover, you probably need more sleep or more quality sleep. Like even if you're saying, well, I'm getting 7 hours a night, but one of the things you'll notice if you need naps at any point during the day, that might be indicative that you're not getting enough sleep at night. So as far as getting higher quality sleep, the things that you need to be very careful of is going to be things like room temperature and light. Electronic light is one of the worst things for blunting melatonin response in the body. Your phone, oh yeah, this is a problem. This needs to be turned off, or at least turned down to the point where if you get an emergency thing, you can see it, but you don't need to be turning the phone back on and reading an actual text. If you have stuff that lights up, you can see fine on the off screen, but you don't want the full screen turning on. You don't want a computer that turns on at night. You do not ever have a television playing at night. If you're concerned about quality sleep or you're struggling with recovery from training, your sleep recovery is possibly an issue. That's stuff that needs to be eliminated. Night lights need to be eliminated. You want the room dark. We get the highest quality sleep in pitch black or close to pitch black. As far as being continuous, yes, continuous matters. Now, when I say continuous, does that mean you can't wake up in the night at all? No. Just be careful of turning on lights. If you need to get up in the night to take a pee once or twice a night, fine, get up and pee. People who drink a lot of water need to do that. People who are athletic and care about health probably drink a lot of water. So yeah, it's possible you're going to have to get up and pee. Go pee. Turn on as few lights as possible. Don't check your phone. And if you get back to bed, let's say you can get up and pee and be back to your bed and your head back on the pillow, eyes closed again in less than 2 minutes, it probably won't matter. It's not really going to skip a REM cycle. As long as you return back to a deep sleep within a minute or two and you don't give any extra light stimulation beyond what's necessary, you'll probably be okay. Checking your phone, checking your computer, that will impact the quality of sleep you get. And if you're having recovery problems, this could be an issue. So the amount of uninterrupted sleep you get is important, because what happens as far as your REM cycles go, the longer your sleep period is, the deeper and longer your REM cycles get, meaning your third hour of sleep is better than your first. Your 6th hour of sleep is usually better than your third in terms of overall, as far as the way your brain organizes itself and recovers, and your nervous system, absolutely better. As far as muscle recovery goes, probably not as important, because it's mainly the fact that you move very, very little when you sleep. And that's normal. That's one reason some people get night terrors, is that actually you're paralyzed when you're in a deep sleep, so that you don't hurt yourself. So usually humans don't wake up they're not capable of moving during their REM cycles. Sometimes when you get over and move, it's because you come partly awake. That's where things like night terrors is where that switch doesn't cut back on perfectly every now and then. Totally different issue. But yeah, you don't move a lot. So that's actually a big part of your muscle recovery, because the muscles are actually pretty much stationary. They're getting rest. Your whole body's resting, sleeping, recovering. So maybe not for muscle recovery so much, but overall hormone profile, nervous system recovery, yeah, absolutely a big deal. And if we're talking about, again, nervous system fatigue from training, the length of your sleep periods absolutely matter. The other big one is going to be the snooze button. I've seen data on this, and every psychologist I knew, even back at university, would talk about the snooze button. What usually seems to be the case, the sleep that you get during the snooze button doesn't actually count. Meaning it wakes you up so hard with such a short break in between, with the 10-minute breaks in between, that if you hit the snooze button 5 times to get an extra hour of sleep, you didn't get the equivalent of an extra hour of sleep. The worst thing you can do is use the snooze button and keep waking up. What's generally going to be better, if you're going to need to use the snooze button because you want to wake up 30 minutes or an hour after you set the original alarm, you need to quit using the snooze button and just set the clock to wake you up at the correct time. You're actually going to get higher quality sleep because, again, we go back to the final hours being the most important. If you were woken up 4 times, 5 times during the last hour with a hard wake up with something that really jars you awake like an alarm, guess what? You totally destroyed the quality of that final hour of sleep, which was probably going to be your most restful and best recovery hour. You ruined it with the snooze button. Lose the snooze button. You want to be fully recovered. You want to have the best athleticism. You want to get the best gains in the gym. That snooze button needs to go. Actually, if you want to have the best memory and cognition, that snooze button needs to go also. You just need to sleep longer. And the snooze button is telling you that, and you're abusing it. You need to get rid of it. The snooze buttons are the worst thing ever invented. As far as quality sleep goes, get rid of them and set your alarm to get up at the proper time and learn to get up when it goes off. If it's really becoming a problem and you're really, really drowsy when you get up, even when you feel like you're getting enough sleep, you're probably not. And you're probably not getting enough sleep for recovery. You probably need to get to bed 30 minutes or 45 minutes sooner than you are getting to bed. If when you're waking up, when your alarm goes off, if it's not adequate sleep, you're simply not getting to bed soon enough, and it's your body and your brain telling you, hey, you're doing this wrong. So really, we can give general rules as far as saying, hey, 7 or 8 hours, but you know what? That won't be true for everyone, and it won't be true if the quality of sleep that you're getting is lower. And the quality of sleep can have to do with how much light you're exposed to, how you're woken up, how many times you wake up and what forces you to wake up. Because usually if you wake up to pee, you're between your REM cycles. You're not being pulled out of one because of your bladder. It's you coming awake normally in between those cycles, and that's okay. If you get to the bathroom and pee and you don't put on any more lights than you need to, you don't check stuff, probably be fine. Just get back to sleep as quickly as possible, and hopefully it doesn't interfere with your next REM cycle. So overall, these are the things you need to pay attention to, and these are good rules to have. This stuff, getting proper sleep, is probably just as important as following a proper training program. If your goals are to maximize your goals, maximize your athletic performance, maximize your muscle gains, any of these things that you're trying to do, getting an ideal amount of sleep is going to be just as beneficial as picking a good training program. Probably equal importance overall in the grand scheme of things. And it will also affect your quality of life and your overall well-being. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.